Hello, hello. Happy Monday. Hope you all doing well. I can't wait to show you this card tonight, but I'll wait a little bit till you all get in and get settled. Welcome to another Let's Make a Card night. And I kind of set a challenge for myself this week to pull out those stamp sets that might not have been top of my list or might not have been the first one that I was going to grab, and make myself actually make cards with them. So that's what I did with this one, and I have a few more later in the week to share with you. They'll be on the blog. Hey, Shannon. And so we'll be doing some cards. Today it's about watercolors. I'm going to also try and bring in a little technique with each one. It's definitely Monday, yeah. Well, I have to share this with you. Just before I went live, hey, Carrie. Those of you that follow me know that Grace and Lucy are my granddaughters that I spend a lot of time with, and then I have two more grandchildren too, but I don't share as much about them because they don't do as many goofy things, I don't think. Grace and Lucy are the characters. They're my assistants here in the office at times, and I did a video with them last week, and they have been working all weekend with adding bunk beds. So Lucy is going to be 3 and Grace is 5, going on 15. And they just got Lucy out of her crib and into a big girl bed, which is the bottom bunk bed. So all excited, super wonderful. They love it. Everybody's staying in their bed all night. It's so good. Well, this is the note that Sarah found tonight when they went up to go to put them into their bed. Is Dad must have done something to aggravate the girls. So no dad, no dad, Lucy, Grace. So apparently no dads are allowed now in the new room. So they're coming to see me tomorrow. I can hardly wait. I wonder if I can aggravate them that quickly, but we'll see. I'll keep you posted, see how I do. All right, so tonight we are working with Walk in the Woods. And it's one, I love the sentiments. I love the fonts that they used for them. Isn't that great, Shannon? I knew you'd like that one. I haven't figured out what this little creature is yet, though. And I probably should have looked it up. I'm sure they told us somewhere what it is. I'm calling it a hedgehog, but I don't think it's really a hedgehog because I don't think hedgehogs live in the wild, at least not here. But remember, Stampin' Up! is a worldwide company, so maybe in Australia they live in the wild? I don't know. I'll find out and I'll let you know what it is for sure. But I'm treating it as though it's a hedgehog. So let's come down here and look. I know, I got to find out what Dad did. Oh, goodness. Mom's first day back at work and Dad was in charge, so it could be anything. Mom had her first day of school today. Sarah teaches a nursing program, so her class started today. So they're mad about something, but we'll see how mad they get at Mimi tomorrow. I'll see what I can do to aggravate. Walk in the Woods is one of those ones that, okay, yeah, it's cute, I got it, and it was like, I don't know. But I started to play with it and I really fell in love. And the thing that I like absolutely the most about it is the sentiment, everything will be okay. It is something that from the day we got married, whenever something isn't right, Bert's line is, everything's going to be okay. Don't worry, everything will be okay. And so, oh, it could be a possum. And so that's the first sentiment I had to use off of here. So here's our card that we're going to make. Hey, Becky. We could decide, and I have to tell you right now, this possum, hedgehog, whatever it is, has a hunchback because I colored this wrong. But I decided to leave it, and we'll do it right this time. This is not his back. That is another mushroom. See it? Yeah, he has a hunchback. So we'll fix him the next time. He just looks really annoyed. Or maybe it's a hedgehog hiding behind him. It'll be okay. Everything will be okay. See? It works. It works for the card, too. All right, so let's get started. First thing we need, oh, and I'll have the sketch up for you. First thing you're going to need is an 8.5 by 11 cut in half to give you the 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 card base. All right. And then we need a piece of Bumblebee, and we're going to do this 4 by 5 1/4. Whoops, wrong way, sorry. Cinnamon cider. 4 by 5 1/4. Hey, Cheryl. All right, so let's get out our trimmer. Yes, he is, Becky. That's true. Maybe that's it. I didn't really notice it when I first did it. I was so busy coloring away. I was like, oh, that's so cute. And then I happened to look at it again and realize that's not right. So there's 4 by 5 1/4. You've got plenty of time. There's no immediate deadline. I'm going to keep it open until the middle of September. But the online fall retreat, Fall in Vermont, opened for enrollment. And you can check that all out. You just go to caramiller.com, give it a peek, see what you think. You can come to just the retreat. You get the goodie bag and just the retreat, which is a Friday night pajama party with some make and takes. And then Saturday, I think it's 4. I could be wrong. Classes throughout the day. Then there's 4 add-on classes to go if you decide you need more than what I'm giving you. And you can take that, make sure I got this right. I'll talk right through it. And you can add that on. So there's lots of choices, lots of options, lots of ways to set this up for yourself. Oh my goodness, I talked through the whole thing. Let's go back. This is the first one. This is supposed to be 5 1/4 by 4. Okay, phew. This one is supposed to be 5 pay attention, by 3 3/4. Three 3/4. That does not seem right. Let's hope we're right. Are we? In spite of myself, I'm okay. All right, so that's all my trimming. Good. Because I'm talking way too much tonight and it's not working. So this can just go right here. I don't have to do anything to it. Super easy. So I'm going to grab myself some seal. Remember to put this down. You're going to want to roll and flick. Roll and flick. I don't even know if that's right. Roll forward and then roll back. Oh, yay, Shannon. Roll forward and back. And I promise I will make you feel like you're here. We'll be in the Zoom room. I will take you outside. I will show you what's going on. We will be here. There's that one. And now we're going to add this on the next layer. The goodie bags are really fun. I started picking out what's going to go in them already. It takes me a while to collect everything. Okay, so there's the base of our card. Now, the trick to this, if you look at the stamps, we have the mushroom, right? And then we have the hedgehog. But he looks like he's in the mushrooms in this one. So let me show you how I did it. I'm going to take my Whisper White and I'm going to trim it down so I get it the size I want. And I am using these, we've used these before. The Celebration Label dies, these are great. If you don't have this one, it's a really good set. All these varieties, so they look really good layered. They have these corners are great. I haven't even tried all of it yet. I've been just using these shapes. They're double stitched, so it's stitched whether you do it on the inside or the outside. See it? Too close. So if the outline, I'll show you. The outline is just as cool as the inside. Let me bring this over here. All right. Do you have this yet? It's the new Stampin' Up's cut and emboss machine. Love, love, love it. As you can tell, I've already abused my poor plates. What I love about this is everything is labeled right here. I don't have to try and remember what sandwich goes with what. Everything's numbered. Super simple. And it really cranks nice and easy. Okay, and then, whoops, I just knocked you down. You didn't even notice it, did you? Good, good. Almost knocked you right off the thing. Then I'm gonna, I hate to do this and make that loud noise, but look, it just folds right up. I just woke up the cat, Shannon, I bet. Okay, and then out of the way. All right, so this is what I was gonna tell you about. You know, clearly this is stitched, right? But so is this piece. Super cool. So either way, you want to do it. All right. I need a piece of scrap paper to go behind this because I might get a little messy. All right, I'm going to go with my my hedgehog first. And because I'm going to color with my watercolor pencils, I'm going to use my StazOn. And the reason I pick the watercolors is it lets you give a more, I don't want to say muted necessarily, but that is really what it is. So, but I don't want this to be super bright. I don't. So let me show you the options. If I stamp my hedgehog like this, right, I get that look. If I stamp him again, it's called a second generation, but it almost, I kind of like that better. It's not so stark. I like this almost gray look, still using my StazOn. Okay, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to ink this baby up, nice and inky. I'm going to stamp it here, and then I'm going to stamp it where I want it right here. Okay? All right, cool. Then the next thing you need is a Post-it note, just a pack of Post-it notes. We're going to make a little mask. So I don't stamp over Mr. Hedgehog when I stamp the mushrooms. I'm going to bring this in again, and I'm going to stamp right near where the sticky part is, down near the bottom, and I'm going to stamp him again. All right? Seems like a lot of stamping of hedgehogs, but it'll be okay. If you're going to color him in with blends, then you're going to use your Memento. But if you're going to use watercolors, it's recommended, so you don't get any smearing or running, that you use the StazOn. So now I'm going to go around my guy. I don't have to be super crazy. I'm just going to cut around him. There aren't dies that go with Mr. Hedgehog or Possum. He doesn't have a tail. Well, at least I don't see one. All right. And then over here, around his little toes. Okay, so there he is. Now I'm going to cover this guy up with my mask. Different kind of mask than we're talking about these days. This is a stamping mask. Now, let me move these over for a minute. I'm going to bring in my mushrooms. Now, if you look at my sample, this mushroom only has 2 mushrooms, and I actually got 4. So I stamped it twice. But you don't have to. You can just do it once. You're going to ink this up. Make sure you get it all covered. Make sure everybody's got its ink on it. Looks pretty good. Now I'm not going to do the stamp off with this one. I'm just going to go with it the way it is, and you can see the difference between the hedgehog and the mushrooms. And for some reason I need to turn it. So I'm going to do this right in the over to one side here, and then I'm going to come over and stamp over here too a second time. Now had I not had this mask on there, that's what my little hedgehog would have looked like. Not pretty. Okay, so now let's see what we have. Let's take this away, and you can see that now he looks like he's in the forest. See, that's where you get the hunchback. It's not really him, is it? No, that's a third mushroom that's behind him. That's this mushroom. A marten. Okay. What do they do? What color are they, Lana? Am I painting him the wrong color? Is he not brown? So you can see how the mask worked to cover him up so you keep a nice, clean little guy, but he looks like he's in front of the mushroom, so I can get kind of a scene with it. And then it's time to color, and that's my favorite part. I don't need to color all of him with you. He's going to be brown and grays. All right, so I have basic gray, crushed curry, which is a yellow, right? Crushed curry is more yellowy than, it doesn't look like it in this picture, but this is crushed curry, so it's pretty bright. And Cajun Craze. So I'm going to go with the Cajun Craze, using the stamp as my helper, as my guide. And put down some color on my little fellow. No, he's not going. This one's not going to get a hunchback. Brown is good. Okay, phew. All right. I'm going to add a little bit of gray to him because the Cajun Craze is a little reddish, so I'm going to tone it down by mixing in a little bit of basic gray. And then I'm going to bring in my blender pen. And as I work these colors, you'll see that they give him, they do blend together. And the more you play with it, the more you can get highlights. I really like playing with the watercolors. Now, if you need a little bit more color, if you feel like it's just too light, but you don't want to color on your actual, this is just Whisper White. I'm not using watercolor paper, but I can put a little bit of the Cajun Craze down here on a scrap piece and then pick it up with my blender pen. And then when I come over here, notice I can darken it a little bit. The only negative with using Whisper White, if you go over it too much, you'll kind of icky up the paper. It'll ball all up like spitballs. I don't like that. So if I'm going to do a lot of watercoloring, I really like using the watercolor paper. And you could do the same techniques, everything, using watercolor paper. Okay, so then I'm going to bring in some Old Olive and some Garden Green and do our grass. Now I added 2 here, so it looks a little bit more It doesn't look just like the one in the catalog or just like the stamp. I customized it to make it my own. Garden green's a little bright, so I might want to, again, go over that with some of the gray to tone it down a little. And then blender pen. Right? So because I stamped him off, he's not as bold as the one on my card. Right? This one was first generation. This guy was second generation. Just a different look. Depends on what you like. Now, when I came to the mushrooms, I was going to do my research and see what color mushrooms really are. The ones on my stake are white. But the ones in my driveway, sometimes when it rains a lot, they get different colors. But I decided to use my Daffodil Delight for the bottom of my mushrooms, because they're my mushrooms. They can be any color I want them to be, right? And then I brought in, oh, I put that one away. I brought in the Calypso Coral to add a little bit of pink. Came over here. Not too much, but just to add a little something, a little extra color. Again, it's mine. It can be any color I want. Crumb cake. I don't think I have crumb cake in the watercolors. That's the only issue, but that's the only thing I notice is there's limited colors. I do not see crumb cake. That would have been my choice too, but I don't see any. So can I mix them? You can. You've got to be careful because of the way I stamped with the StazOn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back and do some of this, which is making it look watercolorish. You know, it's not like so dramatic as a blends coloring would be. All right. And now we're going to experiment and see what does it look like if I bring in a blend, a Stampin' Blend in crumb cake. So I'm going to take the light crumb cake. Now this is totally not, this is mixing mediums, but we're going to give it a shot. I love the watercolor pencils, I really do. I'm hoping they come. So let's see how this looks when we mix it. Now these aren't going to blend with my watercolors, but I think they're okay. I think I can get away with it, right? Looks pretty cool. I don't think I could go too heavy, or I probably would smear the ink a little. And I don't know if I could go over the blends with a watercolor, but it works this way. The blend goes on top of the watercolor just fine. All right. Good idea, Deb. It works good. And because it's kind of a muted watercolory looking image, it doesn't have to be so distinct or perfect. Well, while we're at it, let's go with some Old Olive and add that in here, the Old Olive blend, and see how that looks. He looks pretty cool. It's a dark, I want light. We we still liking it? Should I stop now? It's a different look, but I kind of like it. All right, so there's our guy, right? What I love about the coloring is you cannot go wrong with the coloring. You really can't. So what if you're thinking, oh, you know what? He just looks like he faded in. He doesn't look like he should. He doesn't look as great as I'd like him. Remember I have these? I could go back and I can fussy cut one of these. Let's take this guy. Now let's do him in our crumb cakes. Now I have to be careful because remember I didn't stamp this in the right thing for blends, but I have found that if you're not heavy-handed, you can usually get away with it. You can't do a lot of blending and a lot of scrubbing with it, but you can usually get away with using the other one. So I'm going to color this guy quickly. All right. And then we'll bring this in. This is the dark version. And then we're going to bring our light back and we're going to blend it a little bit. He really does. His face is super sweet. My kids had a hedgehog when they were little, which is why I think that's what he is. And they curl up in a ball. They're really cute. Okay, so you get the one you want. You're happy with it. And you're going to cut him out. You got to be a little more fussy this time. Shannon, that's what I decided to challenge myself because I have a lot of stamp sets that I think, oh, well, I'll do the bundle and I won't do this just plain one. And I'm finding that if I push myself to try some of these different ones, Stampin' Ink is really what Stampin' Up! Was born on. It really was. And now if you don't have any of these coloring tools, you can use your inks to color with your aqua painter. So don't think, oh, well, I can't color because I don't have all those expensive coloring. Or if you've not learned, if you haven't done any coloring yet, honest to goodness, the watercolors are the way to go. They're really not expensive. You need a set of watercolor pencils and the blender pens, and they come in a pack of 3. Now I keep saying blends and blender pens and it sounds like it's interchangeable. It's not. I'll show you the difference in a sec. They're totally different. The Stampin' Blends that I colored this guy in with, these are alcohol markers. They're like Copics, only I think cooler because they're much easier to work with. You only have a light and a dark. You don't have to worry about 18 shades. All right, so let's get our card front back. So this is the way we designed it. I designed it. This is the way it came out, right? Look how this looks if I add some dimensionals. So it kind of depends because how you color it is how it's going to look. So I might have liked this guy. He wouldn't have been quite so faded had I used all watercolors. It would have been okay. But once I brought the blends in, his watercolored body kind of looks washed out. So if I bring this guy in and pop him on, he just comes right off the page. Literally, right? I really like him. So now I'm going to dimensional the back of this baby. While I'm talking, so I don't forget, this is a blender pen that goes with watercolors. You don't ever refill it. Really, they're so cute. The way they curl up in their little belly, they're so cute. This is the Blender pen. It comes in a pack of 3, and this goes with watercolor pencils. This is a Stampin' Blends, and these come in a pack of 2, a light and a dark, and a gazillion colors. Not really, but a lot of colors. And you can start a collection of those. You don't have to do them all at once. It's not a whole pack. You just collect them as you go. And you get really different looks. The watercolors are really, I love the way watercolors look. I think they're really muted and pretty and delicate and not so bold. But I do like blends too. All right, so there's that. Right? Really cute. So we have this and this. But now we have to add our sentiment. And I have a 3/4 inch strip right here. And I'm going to do Everything Will Be Okay. Right in the middle. And then I'm going to use that new label punch that I told you we're going to use all the time now. My triple banner punch. This is my new replacement. We still have the triple banner. It's still here. Still has a place of honor and still gets used a lot. This was probably the first punch I got and they haven't retired it, so woohoo, still using it. But this one can give you the ends, and I used both of them on this guy. So I don't think I want it quite this long, so I'm going to take a little snip. And then I want it to be this pointy end. So I'm going to slide you in. And then I'm going to look at it to make sure it's what I want. There's that, right? And then this one, I'm going to snip not quite as far down. And this goes in the other one. And these can be different widths. It's 3/4 to 1.5, I think. And then, now when I put this on here, this is lifted up with blends. With dimensionals. So if I just stick this down, it's going to be floppy here. It's going to get bendy because it's not flat. So what I'm going to do is put a blend, why am I saying that? Put a dimensional on this end. Gosh, I have blends on the brain. A dimensional on that end. And I'm going to use the seal on this end. Okay? So now when I tuck this in, so the dimensional is going to sit right here. And now this sits perfectly flat. It doesn't get squashed when it gets in the envelope. Okay? Thanks, Mary Lou. 1/2, 3/4, and 1 inch. They're perfect. I love it. So here we go. Everything Will Be Okay, which describes how my cards work when I get going, because you just have to believe everything's going to be all right. It's going to be okay. Now, what if I had a little glitch? What if something were not quite right on here? I have a little ghost to my stamp. A ghost on your stamp means, oh wait, I can make one happen, you watch. A ghost is when you stamp too heavy-handed. And I'm really good at that. Because I really want to get some ink on here, and I'm pushing. And then I bring this up, and I push down again really hard. And see that little itty-bitty line right there? That's called a ghost. You don't want those. But if I were just going to cut it out, no big deal. So don't be heavy-handed is the key to that. But what if I did it and now it's there and now it's stuck on my card? What am I going to do? I could do some ribbon. I could add some color at the bottom. I could get some embellishments. you can always find a way to cover that up. Now this guy's pretty big, so in this case I'd probably cut it. But if it was just one little thing, like if you look really close, if you're being critical, see there's a little one right here. I'm going to take some of these and I'm going to just put a couple up there and one down here. And oh baby, I meant to do that. Yeah, there you go. All right. Okay. Well, thanks for coming tonight. I have a couple other cards done with this stamp set. I'll be putting them up on the blog tomorrow with some other ideas. When you get a stamp set and you don't know where to start, look in the catalog. Open up the catalog and look through it, and I bet you'll find something that will help you. Now, you noticed earlier Shannon said this was on page 134. So let's look at 134. And you see that they have something similar, which helps me. I start with this idea, and then I go from there. Now, they did their mushrooms in really bright colors. So this is definitely done with blends. They use some sequins, different colors, but it gave me an idea to start. Pinterest is another great place that you don't have to copy the card exactly, but it gives you a place to start. It kind of gets your juices flowing. The other cards that I did using this, here's one. That's done using the Birch stamp set. It's a really great background stamp. Looks just like birch bark. Love it. It's huge too. Right? So that's done using the birch in the background. Double layers of those celebration labels. And then these are part of the celebration labels. And this guy I stamped with crumb cake. I didn't use a dark stamp set for him. And then this one is totally out of my norm. Mary Lou, you'd be proud of me. I did ripping and tearing and inking and oh my goodness. He does look more hedgehoggy there. This one was a pinspiration. I found this sort of on Pinterest. It's by one of the artisan design team members for Stampin' Up. I didn't do it exactly the same, but I started with it and then I just kind of went from there. She had done the tearing, but not in these colors. So what's cool about this stamp set is you can really get some incredibly different looks. Right? Isn't that cool? I love that one too. Okay. See, Mary Lou, you'll get me. So I will have the measurements and stuff up for these other ones later this week for you. This is done with that same celebration die. This is the bottom half of one that's cut. This one is torn. And then it's ripped. And Stampin' Up! Paper just does that so good. It doesn't have the white core. So it's a solid core paper. It just looks really cool. All right, everybody. Have a great night. I'll see you all again Thursday. I know. I wasn't supposed to be here 2 nights a week, but I have something else to show you on Thursday. So, I know. Stepping it up. Have a great week, you guys. I'll see you soon. Bye.